doing the poverty card, and then this song suddenly came to me. So I used to play this when I was busking. I haven't played it for many years. Well, I dreamed I saw the silver spaceships flying in the yellow haze of the sun. There were peasants singing, drummers drumming all around the chosen ones. All in a dream, all in a dream. The loading had begun. Flying Mother Nature's silver seed to a new home in the sun. Flying Mother Nature's silver seed to a new home in the sun. This one now. Dreamed I saw the knights in armor flashing, saying something about the queen. There were peasants singing, drummers drumming, and the archer split the tree. I heard a band playing in my head, and I felt like I was high. I was thinking about what a friend had said. I was hoping it was a lie. Thinking about what a friend had said, I was hoping it was a lie. I was hoping it was a lie. And your friend said, poverty, chastity, obedience. These are the three qualities of the initiate. And doesn't mean to say you can't have a cup of coffee. But you won't be buying the most expensive type. You won't be drinking cream every day in your cup. And your plate of bread and butter will be very satisfying for you to eat. Okay. Now, I'm on this microphone, so I'm going to turn it off and check the video, and then we'll carry on. Well, as you can see, in this moment, the candle has chosen to go into extreme poverty mode, and it's probably going to go out. So in that case, it's time to cut off the top of this thing to help preserve the candle. I've tried to let it burn as evenly as possible by tilting it. You can see I've tilted it. And now it's just too deep in there, can't get enough oxygen. And so this is how a man lives in poverty. And it's funny because the lady doesn't seem to do this. It's mainly the man that does this, I find. The lady's always drinking cream in her coffee, never has anything except cream in her coffee, and has the finest of everything. And so, but the gentleman, he needs to be conscious of everything in moderation and to live as economically, as frugally as possible. And it's actually a joy for the gentleman to do this, for the knight on the pathway to the Holy Grail. You can see I've cut the top off, and it's easier to cut off while it's still warm as long as you don't disturb the wax inside there. And so the candle has a new lease on life. You could probably, if you wanted to, make a repair. There's a little bit there that might need repairing. We just put that there, that might sort of help it repair. These are the thoughts that go. I only ever have candles when my lady sends them to me, and she sent me this candle just before Christmas, and the other one I had from the Christmas before, and so both of those have been useful to actually make these cards. Why they were sent, really, because this one was sent, the other one was sent when I started the cards, and this one is now to finish them. And we're doing the card poverty. I suppose we'll perhaps draw the candle on here to remind us that of these doings. Okay. And we'll put a loaf of bread and the butter on the table to remind us of these two things that we've studied now so far, okay? Now, this morning I had an interesting thing happen to me, and I can see probably why it was done today. It was done today for three reasons. One, because today is the day of getting the good deal, the cheapest one available. And two, that probably nobody else wants this stuff, because why would you? So that's good. I use up stuff that might be thrown away otherwise. And we're making this video so we can use it as an example for the video. So there's always three things going on in the universe at the same time. This is the three numbers in the universe. The number three at the bottom of everything. Poverty, chastity and obedience. Three of them. Yeah. And poverty is the first thing. And obedience is not obedience to people, neither is it in obedience to the law, if the law is an ass. It's obedience to God, and only God. And so when we obey God, we do what makes our heart sing and doesn't harm anybody else. That is, we don't do what we hate, and we don't do what other people hate either. And it takes time to learn this. Yet we're talking poverty now, and so you'll see that there's a lot of stuff that I have around me because I'm a historian. Yet every single one of these objects was purchased on eBay for a tiny fraction of what its true value is. All these cameras along here, this is probably the most expensive one, and that I paid, in this bunch here, I paid, apart from these ones are hard to get. These ones were about £50 each. This one was a bit less than 50. A lot of these practical ones I picked up for between £5 and £15, £5, £10, £15 on eBay. The lenses I'm paying £10, £15, £20 for a lens. And a lot of the digital cameras I have, I pay very little money for. This is a camera I used for a time as a personal camera. And this one I paid £50 for, this particular one. These ones are very, very, very good bargains on eBay. This is a pen, Olympus EPL1. Yet I've found that the EPL one's okay if you're just shooting by in your hand. If you want a good studio camera, I always require a studio camera, and so a studio camera is a camera you use on a tripod so that you can have a slow shutter speed and you can get a really good sharp picture. Yeah, and that's how I like to take photographs. And when I went on my last trip to Germany and did a big photo thing, actually the time before last, I think it was, 2 years ago. No, it was last time. I lost my camera. I left it on the last bus in a bag. I left a bag of some stuff on the last bus with a camera and everything. And often these sort of things happen at the end of a trip. And what it is it's God is taking the thing away from you and giving it to somebody else because there's some other poor person who needs a camera, who's living in poverty. Okay, and so he has to be able to find your camera so that he has something that he can shoot pictures with. And I've found cameras on the way, and I've lost cameras on the way. And this camera has got a nice lens on it, yet the screen at the back is too small for the work that I do, and the operating system is not really up to scratch. And so its bigger brother is called the EP1, and you used to be able to buy these things for fairly inexpensive, about £100 you used to be able to get an EP1 for. But I see now the price has gone sky high as they've become collector's items. And about a year or so ago I thought I might get an Olympus OMD M1, I think it was. And I could buy one of those for about £200 last year. And I checked this year and the cheapest one is about 315. So you see they're going up in value. I should have bought it back then. Not really, I didn't need it. And so now we've come full circle, and this morning I just got the beam up on it. Oh, I got this. The problem I had with this, I lost my charger. I lost the battery charger for this camera, and this morning I thought I should try and charge that battery for some reason. I had some boxes in the other room, and there was a camera box for the old Olympus EP1 that I had still had the box, but I'd lost the camera on the bus, and I was just chucking out the old boxes. So I thought I'll open this box, and I opened the box, and inside the box was a charger. Yeah, I'll show it to you. Yeah. Right. Here's a charger that I found in the box. It's not it's a well-used worn charger, so it's been used quite a bit. And there was a plug on it with an English plug. This is a German plug. It had an English plug on it. Okay. So I plugged it in and I tried it, and it didn't work. Yet at the same time I found another Olympus box, and the only thing that was in it, right next to it was this cable. Okay, that's all. It was brand new, never been used. So I thought, well, I'll try that. I plugged this cable in, and just the day before yesterday I found this adapter. When I was moving the bread maker into position, I found this adapter, and so I had the spare adapter, and it just fits there, and it plugged in and it worked. So I know that I've got a charger, and so I charged up this battery. Now all this is coming to me this morning. I thought, there's a sign going on here. I wonder if there's an EP1 or an OMD M1 for sale. I'll check them out, So I checked out a few on eBay, and they are expensive, These ones are cheap. You can get loads of these ones. But the EP1 and the M1 are very expensive. So I thought, but it was good I found that out, because now I see the value of these things. And so I go searching around, and I find a lens like this, but the bigger one, the one that goes with the EP1. I found a lens with some other stuff, with a battery and a few other things, and going pretty cheap. I think it was 12. I bid on it. I put a bid on it for £12. Okay, so I thought, well, if I get that for £12, that's good, because I think I'm going to be getting another one of these EP1s or something, or an M1, and they're always, when you buy them, those ones, they're always sold just with the body. And so I got the lens first. I put the bid in, and it's still sitting there now. It comes, closes tomorrow, I think. And so my bid's sitting on there. I'm winning bidder at the moment. I'm just showing you how you can live in poverty, but you can have everything that you need. But what you're doing is you're not exceeding the bounds of that poverty requirement. So then I start scanning through the eBay listings for the EP1s. I look at all of them. I look at EP1, EP2, EP3, EP4, EP5, EP6, EP7. You know, of course, they go up in price all the way up. And then I look at the EPL models. These are EPL. This is a learner's one. I look at that, all them, all the way up to EPL7s and stuff. The EPL7 has a bigger screen, but it probably hasn't got the same operating benefits of the EP1. And I like the EP1. It's funny, I like the EP1. I've had two or three of these EP1s, yeah. And I keep coming back to it, and I like the camera on a tripod. I don't like to use the camera in the hand, because it can suffer from camera shake. But this is better in the hand. But the EP1's good on a tripod, and sometimes you get these cheap because often the camera shake thing, anti-shake in it, breaks. Very common fault on these cameras. And if it's broken, you can often get a cheap deal, but there's nothing like, there's hardly any for sale, you know, just like rare as henties now by the looks of it. And I found one there, and it was 30 something pounds, £30 for the body and a few bits and pieces. I think there might even be probably a battery with it, maybe a charger too. And about 36, £37, something like this. And with a fault, I'll look at the fault, and all the fault is some black pixels gone on the screen, right through the centre, like a line running across the centre of the screen. Just missing pixels. And when you're looking on the viewfinder, you can look through the black patch into the image behind. It's just like if you had a mark on a mirror or something like that. You can still see what you need to see by moving the camera out. That's not going to be a problem for me. I don't mind that. You know, nobody else will want it, but I'll have it. Yeah, you're starting to see through the mirror, and so I just hit the buy now on it. £36. So I got myself another EP1 for £36, and somebody got my model some years ago, a year or so ago, because they needed one, yeah, and then I didn't need it for that time. I haven't used a camera since then, because generally what I do is I do a big photo thing resulting in an exhibition, take loads and loads of pictures, and then I just put it away for a year or something like that until next time. But I feel it comes back, it always comes back, so it's probably coming back now. And I did think that I was going to do something with this camera. It's not an easy camera to operate. It's got a small screen on it. I thought it might be good for portraiture. It's a very good quality camera, but it's very old, and it's the batteries don't last long, and there's a few other things. So if I want to do a lot of serious, like if I want to photograph all the cars, for example, I need my studio camera. Yeah, that's probably what I'm getting it for, because that'll be the next thing. I want to photograph all the cars, and so I can't do it with these cameras. I need my studio camera for that, and so that's what the EP1 is for me. So it's on its way, and if it doesn't arrive with the lens, if I don't win the lens, then I know that I don't need the lens, and I can use the lens on this camera. But it's nice when you buy a camera, it's nice to have a lens with every camera that you've got. I mean, I can put another lens on it, one of these older style lenses, which is a good thing that the Olympuses are good for. You can use the old lenses on it. Yeah, it's also really, really nice to have the proper lens on for the Olympus, because they're really great lenses here. They're not expensive lenses. I don't even think they're glass, but they're very, very high quality and as good as anything in here, with all the advantages of modern technology, full aperture, metering, stop down, and all that sort of stuff. Fully automatic on the camera. We've just repaired, by the looks of things, our candle's repaired itself in a nice way. It's put a bit of extra wax on this side that is going to prevent the flame from burning too much in one place. I'll put a bit more in there. Like that. Okay, we'll take 5. Now if I can, I don't use Amazon at all, but I do use eBay all the time, because there's a lot of people selling stuff on eBay who are living in poverty, you know. And so I don't mind buying stuff like this, because I'm getting it off people who are selling the stuff, and if they're selling it, they probably need the money, you know. And so generally you're attracted to buy stuff for some reason. You buy it, and it's often probably because the other person needs the money actually. And I get paid a certain amount, a small amount every month, and it may as well go out there, it may as well go out into the world. I like to have a little bit of savings so that I can go on my boat when the time comes, and when Elizabeth comes I've got some money to spend on her. But for my own living, I can move the money on. Yeah, I'm living very cheaply in the food department and that, so I'm very, very, very small number of items that I buy. I don't even have anything in the fridge. There's nothing there. Yeah, there's no biscuits in the house. And if I buy a cake, I just buy a cake and I eat it. So there's other things. For example, you can have, I've got a lot of music equipment, you know, because I've done that, I've studied that. I'm a master of all that recording music and stuff and writing songs and all that. I've done all that as a kind of a masterwork, you know. I've recorded loads of albums for my own amusement and for the edification of the people. But one of the things that because it's like the cameras, I'm studying the history, and so I started to acquire a number of amplifiers in the same way I've been studying the old cameras and the old computers. I've got a lot of ThinkPads. I now seem to have acquired a lot of Fender amplifiers, because Fender are an interesting, they're probably the greatest amplifier maker in history, and their amplifiers are the finest amplifiers that have been made, really. There are other good amplifiers, yet if you take generally across the board, Fender have a good quality running right the way back to the beginning, even the modern Fender amplifiers are very similar build quality to what they were in the past. Now, you can buy an amplifier, for example, I needed to explore amplifiers a bit more, because you need the right sound, you need the right kind of sound with your guitar. Amplifiers are a very important part of it. Now, this amplifier here, it's called a Fender Automatic, and I managed to pick this up for £100 on eBay, and the guy lived about 20 miles away, and he was kind enough to deliver it to me, which I thought was very good of him. And it turned out that the first one, this was the first amplifier I bought, first Fender one I bought. No, it wasn't, it was the second one. I bought a bass bass guitar amplifier. No, I did. This was the first one. This was the first one. That's right. And I got it at the same time as I got two amplifiers at the same time. I got this one and a modern Fender amplifier, a bass amplifier that had a good write-up. It wasn't expensive, but it was second-hand. They're all second-hand. And so it's not creating more stuff in the universe, it's using what's already there. And so this one turned out to be the best. It's really, really nice sounding amplifier, this, for some reason. And so I wasn't that pleased with the other Fender, so I wanted to get another one. I wanted to try another one, and so I found another one. I'll show you what I ended up getting. Okay, this was the second one I got, and I paid £50 for this. And the guy also brought it to me in his car from about 20 miles away. He was a nice old fellow. They all seem to be old fellows like me. And so when I tried this one out, it wasn't, I thought this would be about as good. It was from the same era as the automatic, but this one wasn't that great. I mean, wasn't that good. And so I ended up trying it to get this one. This is a Fender Princeton Chorus, which I'd had before, and I remember it being a nice sounding amplifier, so I ended up getting this. So now, as you can see, I've got 3 Fender amplifiers. Now I'll shut down and go back into the other room. Now, at this level on the journey, living in poverty, I'm not allowed to sell anything. So if I buy something, I've got to keep it, or I've got to give it away. It's that simple, really. And so I've given 2 amplifiers away in the last couple of months, really. I gave the Fender bass guitar amplifier that I bought, I gave to my friend. And I had a Vox amplifier that I didn't think was any good to give away to anybody, because I didn't think it was that nice a sounding amplifier. So what I did was I just took it down the street and I put it where they put the books, free books, and I just left it there, and I came back at the end of the day and it was gone. So somebody managed to get themselves an amplifier for free. That's good. And so all this stuff, once I have it, I've got to keep it or I've got to give it away, right? And there's only so many amplifiers before you've filled the house up. It's just the way it is with amplifiers. But I need to be able to study this, because I need to be able to get to the bottom of why this amplifier is good over here. And the funny thing I found out was, I had the amplifier that I had in that bedroom over there, I had it tilted at an angle in the corner of the room. And I've discovered that if you actually do that with an amplifier, it doesn't sound very good. And so all the amplifiers sounded better in this room than they did in the corner. And now I've shifted them so that I've got them at right angles to the walls. And so I'm learning about the acoustic properties of the things there. And that I've also found out that even so, in any position, those amplifiers, none of those amplifiers as good as this one in here, this Fender Automatic. And so I'm kind of like learning, why is this? And I also needed to revisit the old Princeton Chorus amplifier that I had when I first started out. It's the same amplifier I had, it was the first guitar amplifier I got. And you know, they were very expensive amplifier. I mean, it was this top of the line Fender amplifier. I think they were equivalent, probably be £1,000 today, you know. And that one I had to pay. They're very rare. You don't see them come up for sale very often. And so there was only one for sale on eBay, and it was, the guy could post it. So I thought, well, I'll get it. It was £160, which is more than what I normally like to pay for an amplifier. But it's got 2 amplifiers in it and 2 speakers, and this was 100, so I thought, well, 160, it's not bad. But I got it here, and it's got a certain sound that I'm not that fussed with. But it probably has its usage. It's a very gentle, soft-sounding amplifier, and it might work good just for quietly. I remember it was good for playing quietly in the bedroom. It might be nice for that. And some amplifiers you've got to get them to sound any good, you've got to turn them up really loud. And I don't like doing that with the neighbours. They're all like 80 years old around here. Hopefully the lady upstairs is deaf, nearly deaf. She can't hear anything. So that's okay, but the lady next door, she's an elderly lady, and I don't want to make too much noise because of her. So I don't feel able to do that. And I know that valve amplifiers, you know, I'm studying the difference between valve amplifiers and solid state. There's a whole science there. And some solid states sound better than others. And so that's what I've been studying, really. And how when you can combine certain sounds of a solid state and the valve amplifier, the two together, how that changes the sound. And so I can mix and match. I've got a small valve amplifier, and I can play it together with each of these different amplifiers and see what the effects are. And surprisingly, you might find that certain combinations sound better than others. So it's a kind of a study, and at the same time, I don't like to spend too much money on these things. Yet you have to spend a certain amount of money to be able to learn. And so all you're doing is investing in your own learning, and out of this certain physics of hearing and sound and all that, it's necessary to understand it all. And it's the same with the guitars. All the guitars sound different, and every single one of them. And to understand how they fit into the mix. And if you're going to make a record, I haven't made a record for a long time, years actually, but I'm building up enough stuff that I could make a record at some point, and at that time I'm going to need different guitar sounds, different types of guitar, different amplifiers, so that I can, yeah. And also, you never know, I've probably got enough stuff here now for a whole band to play with. All I need is the people to come and occupy the places, and we can have a jam session. So maybe that's what it's about. We don't know. That's the thing, is the wonderful thing about the universe, is that we don't know what it's all for. Yeah, you don't know what anything's for, and it's all happening automatically. If we just go along with the program, do what we feel like doing. If we feel like giving something away, give it away. If we feel like keeping it, keep it. If we suddenly feel like buying a camera and we get up in the morning, do it. Do it. You don't need to spend a fortune, and you don't need to think about it. Just get what you need, go with the program, and you'll find yourself buying the most economical stuff that you can find. You're not going to be wasting money. You're going to be buying what you need, and you won't be without anything you need. So living in poverty isn't that bad, actually. It's not bad at all. That's enough. Thanks for watching. Okay, and we just need another card. So let's do that. Get the next card. Because one thing, at this time of the day, the battery is just about finished, so it's very difficult at this time of day to do any filming, because I've got to put it on charge for a few minutes, and then I've got to take it and use it and watch out it doesn't go dead on me. Right, we're picking a card. If you want to see the reading, you can subscribe to the channel, and then you'll get the next video in your feed. Which card is it? Which card are we getting? Which card are we getting? Ha 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 ha! Taking too much. Taking too much. This, we've already covered this. This is a sign, this is a confirmation card, because poverty, it's the opposite of poverty, isn't it? Taking too much. And so we don't want to do that. And you say if you take too much, then the big hornet comes and chases you away. So we don't need to do, yeah, maybe we do a card as well. No, we don't. We don't need to do this card. We've done this card. All we need to do is put the hornet on it. I don't know if it looks like a hornet. Probably not. Okay. So we need another card. I thought we'd bet. Oh, hang on, hang on. We need another card. Let's do it. Let's do it. Baptism of water. Okay, that's an appropriate new subject. No oil yet. Baptism and not anointment. Okay. Now, I did think of something else. I watched the video back and I did think of something else, and that's some objects are better off bought new than second hand. And amplifiers are okay because old amplifiers tend to sound better than new ones for some reason. I don't know why that is, but I haven't had much success with modern amplifiers. Probably because they've got Class D, demonic Class D amplifier circuitry in them these days, and probably not that good. And a lot of them are modelling amps, which I haven't really had any joy with them. What I wanted to say was with the guitars, it's not worth your while really to take a chance on buying a guitar second hand, because they don't seem to be any cheaper. They should be a lot cheaper than what they sell them for on eBay, but they're not. And maybe a lot of people buy used second-hand guitar, I don't know, but if you buy a new guitar from Harley Benton, you'll pay no more than you would for a second-hand guitar. And what you're getting is a guarantee that the neck's going to be straight and everything's going to be okay on it, yeah? And if it's not, you can send it back. Well, I've never sent one back, except I had one that came and it was broken, yeah? So I've never had to send one back because of the something wrong with the neck or bent neck or anything like that. And the Harley Benton, the quality of the Harley Benton guitars is better than the second-hand guitars anyway. If you buy an old guitar, they can often have the worn-out frets and wonky necks and all sorts of problems you can have with them. And so, in my opinion, I suppose, you're better off with a new Harley Benton guitar, and from Tom Mann in Germany, Tom Mann website in Germany, and they're not expensive, and when guitars do wear out. So if you keep a guitar for your whole life, by the time you finish, it's probably going to be, it's either going to be worn out or it's going to be okay. And then generally your guitars get handed down, given away at that point when you die. People find your guitars and I suppose head off with them. They'll find homes in the end, guitars. Amplifiers maybe not so easily. But yeah, there's just that about new stuff. Some things you need to buy new, and things like leather shoes and that, you're probably better off with new stuff. Sometimes I find second-hand hats, because the hats are so expensive to buy new and you can't get the same quality hats. It is good if you can get new stuff. A lot of that type of stuff is better new. Second-hand coats, I normally buy second-hand coats. With a lot of coats, they're owned by old people who die, and their coats, they've hardly worn them, and they're super expensive things to buy, like cashmere overcoats and stuff like that. And the woolen coats, they're expensive to buy, jackets and stuff. So a lot of that stuff I will buy second-hand in the charity shops, or I've even bought one or two things on eBay. It's not as easy to buy things there because you can't see it before you buy, so it's sometimes difficult to buy cloth things that way. But the other stuff you can get second-hand, my other music equipment, recording devices, the drums, keyboards and all that, that's all okay second-hand. It's just things like stringed instruments. it's risky. It's risky to buy second-hand guitars, things like that. Flutes, anything that's got an action, yeah, can wear out or be old and dried up, and the wind instruments are like that. So you have to be careful what you get second-hand. Yet there can be, as I say, it's good to recycle in all cases, to recycle. Okay, so if you wanted that last reading, the baptism by water, if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get it in the feed. That'll be the next video that I put up. Okay, thanks for watching.